Hey folks, welcome to another Friday fishing forecast, and it looks like the weekend is actually going to be a beautiful weekend. Slight chance of storms. The winds are supposed to die down, so inshore, offshore is going to be really good. I've heard the mangrove snapper bite inshore and offshore is on fire right now. As you saw in a video that came out earlier this week, Rich and I went out in the bay and did very well on the mangrove snapper. We did extremely well on the major feeding time. So again, I always talk about the salooners. Make sure that you pay attention to the salooners so you know exactly where to be and when to be there when the fish are biting. Now, with that being said, unfortunately, it looks like we have a weather system that's coming our way early Tuesday or Wednesday. Don't know the intensity of it yet. There's models ranging from it won't be very much to some models are saying that it's going to be pretty extreme. So, and it's going to happen pretty quick because this storm's coming off the Yucatan and they're going to come up the Gulf. And as we all know, the Gulf waters are in the 90-degree range right now, maybe a little lower. We have not been out in 2 weeks, so I'm not really sure, but I did hear that the water temperature is still hovering around 90 degrees offshore at the Whistler buoy. So that's not a good thing. Hopefully this storm moves quick enough to where it won't gain momentum enough to where it will do a lot of damage. We definitely do need the rain, but we never look forward to any kind of system like this because you never know what Mother Nature is going to bring you. Like I said, the bay is on fire when it comes to mangrove snapper. Now we've got gag grouper season that's very close to opening. September 1st is when it opens. And I guarantee you that you'll catch keeper gags inside the bay if you're using the right bait and hitting them at the right times. There's a ton of keeper gags in the bay. So if you can't get offshore, if you don't have a boat that will go offshore, there's plenty of fish to be caught inside the bay. I've seen some reports of redfish, some reports of snook, some reports of trout. So there's a lot of different things going on. There is bait on the flats, and we caught it 2 Sundays ago. It was pretty small, but there's definitely bait on the flats. There's actually bait at our dock, which I've honestly never seen before. I've seen it like a day after we've come back and dumped all our bait, but not 2 weeks after. There's been bait here for a week and a half, and it's not just some small pod. It's a large section of area that has bait, which is really the first time since I've seen that, being here for 8 years. Let's go ahead and get into the Friday fishing forecast, talk about the tides and salooners for this weekend and what we have in store. On Saturday, we have a high tide at 8:16 a.m. at a 2.6 foot. Then we have a low tide at 5:10 p.m. at a 0.2 foot. On Sunday, we have a high tide at 9:50 a.m. at a 2.7 foot. Then we have a low tide at 6:11 p.m. at a 0.1 foot. On Saturday, we have a major feeding time from 8:13 a.m. to 10:13 a.m. Then we have a minor feeding time from 4:07 p.m. to 5:07 p.m. Then on Sunday, we have a major from 9:15 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. And then we have another minor from 5:08 p.m. to 6:08 p.m. Well, folks, those are the tides and salooners for this weekend. I also wanted to include, we've got something special coming up, and we're working with a couple of local captains. One is Captain William Wise of Badfish Charter, and then the other one is Captain Mike Goodwine from Blackneck Adventures Charters. And we're actually doing something a little bit different for these guys. We're actually doing their own colors. So we have one is going to be called Purple Nurple, and it's a dark purple, and this just proves that these stewie jigs are working on other species besides snapper and grouper. Here's Captain William Wise with some redfish he caught on the Purple Nurple 3/8 stewie jig with the 1/0 hook, and then he also caught one on a slacker jig. So yes, you can catch inshore fish on the slacker and on the stewie jigs. So we'll have the special color out, Purple Nurple. And then we're also going to have a color called Black Magic with Captain Mike Goodwine. We haven't picked the exact color yet, but it will be named Black Magic. As far as I know, it may change, but I think it's going to be Black Magic. So just keep a lookout for those if you guys are a fan of those two guys. They're going to have their own line of jig colors, which is pretty cool. They came to me about the idea, and I said, heck yeah, man, let's do it. So be on the lookout for those colors. It should be in the next few days coming out, and so we'll have those colors available with those guys. Well, folks, that's the tides and salooners for this weekend. As you see in the very early morning, it's a pretty slow incoming tide. So if you're going to target the inshore species of gags and snapper inside the bay, I definitely would hit that tide early in the morning. Get those fish, especially the snapper. And then once that tide starts dumping out, because it's moving, it's been moving the last couple of days. So when that tide starts dumping out, you can start concentrating on the inshore fish like snook, redfish, and trout. Outgoing low tide, very low tide, especially negatives in the wintertime, are my favorite because it concentrates the fish a little bit more, brings those fish out of the bushes. So if you are going about looking for fish on the flats, you definitely want to look for the mullet. Look for the big mullet. You find the mullet, most likely you're going to find the fish. So keep that in mind. If you're going to be using if you're going to be targeting snapper, I would highly recommend having a couple of different baits. 1, shrimp, 2 is cut bait, 3 is live bait, live white bait and live pinfish. I would definitely have those baits on hand. Again, I just want to say thank you to everybody for all of the support. We really, really appreciate it. We've been extremely busy here building jigs, sinkers, and all kinds of stuff. We're actually about to grow a little bit more. And not a little bit more, a lot more actually. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Fish more, catch more, and we'll see you on the flip side.